Hello and welcome to the ministry. My name is Ali. I am here to bring through something that has moved through the collective and ripped through the feminine consciousness in a really big way over the last few days since we've had the solar flares and Schumann spikes that have just occurred. Here's something that I have witnessed and experienced in my own life. And it is a familiar story for so many women, so many mothers. It is what is happening in homes across the planet, where women are carrying the weight of managing a home, raising kids, managing lives, and managing the emotions of adult men, the fathers of their children. I hear this all the time. Men are having complete and utter meltdowns because they can't get their shit together. So what ends up happening is the women end up carrying the weight of what men refuse to process. There are so many men right now looping in cycles of trauma and passing that trauma down to their children and also onto their partners because they refuse to do the work to break those cycles and break those patterns. And what's happening for these women, they are exhausted, burnt out. And a friend of mine actually said this to me a couple of days ago. It really stuck with me. Women are just enduring. It's just at the moment, enduring. That's what life feels like for these women. And I know what that feels like. I've been through that as a mother, as a woman. I continue to go through that as a single mother, just enduring this life in survival mode, just trying to carry it all, carry the weight of it all, because men refuse to do the work. And one thing that really stuck out for me is something that was said to me in a voice note just before, and this is what triggered me to get on and make this video. A woman said to me, was telling me about a tantrum that she had endured in all of her exhaustion. She had just had a minute to herself. Lo and behold, it turns out she was woken up and there was a big issue and there was chaos. Chaos ensued. And so what happened after that was a continuation of the chaos, the lack of coping skills, the lack of respect for that woman's time to wind down, just to have a little bit of space to be a woman, to rest. Doesn't happen very often for this woman. And that spiraled into words to the effect of, you should just leave me. You should just leave. I'm terrible at everything. You should just leave me. Right? And so this is something, when I heard this woman describing this to me, something resonated so deeply. And I went, you know what? This is such a familiar pattern. And for those of you who know me or have been following my work, my skill is pattern recognition. I'm a medium. So I pick up the energetic threads. And this is, no matter the stories are very similar, but they might be slightly different. The pattern underneath and the energy underneath is this. Women are carrying an incredible amount of pressure, an incredible amount of weight, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. While men are refusing to step up and take that weight off, it is being dumped on women, particularly mothers, who have no choice but to step up and carry it because these men will not choose to better themselves. Yes, they're carrying trauma. Yes, they might be processing things that are really big. But you know what? The thing is, I'm hearing these women, these mothers working through their stuff, and they are having to do it while carrying the entire weight of the household, of the children, dealing with being the referee, being the mediator between the father of their children and their children, worrying constantly about when the next meltdown is going to be or when dad's going to lose control and blow up at the kids and when it's all going to go to pieces. These women are on edge, walking on eggshells with absolutely fried nervous systems, begging for a resolution, begging their partners to work through this with them, willing to go to therapy, willing to work through it, willing to do whatever it takes, working on themselves, repeating themselves over and over, expressing their feelings over and over their needs, to the point where Most of these women, and I am hearing this over and over, most of these women have just completely fucking shut down internally. And all that is left is rage. And one thing that really jumped out at me is that the men who just say, just leave me, they throw their hands in the air after putting these women through absolute hell, refusing to collaborate, refusing to go to therapy, refusing to better themselves, continuing in these cycles, looping over and over for years and years, getting ultimatums, and then going back into the same cycle again and again and again. And their response, when it blows up, their response is, well, you should just leave me. That in itself right there is a level of cowardice and manipulation and abuse that no woman should have to carry, because you know what happens when these women leave? They are then painted as the bad guy. These men refuse to leave and go and do that work to better themselves for their family, or at least give their wife or partner some space, or at least a chance of having some peace and stability in their household and lives. These men won't even have the decency to remove themselves when they know that they are bringing chaos and trauma and abuse to their households. They also put that on their partner. When these women eventually do leave, and I know this because I'm one of them, when these women are forced to leave because they have no other choice, when these women are forced to take action and either leave or get him out of the house because it cannot continue anymore, because you will do whatever you can to protect your children from this continuous cycle, eventually it gets to a point where action has to be taken. These women are then scapegoated, blamed, and these men run off and cry victim. This is the cycle that needs to stop, and I wanted to call it out. This has turned into a rant, but it is happening everywhere. And it is happening in homes where from the outside in, you would look and you would see that they're a happy family and everything looks fine from the outside in. But let me tell you, some of these women are at absolute breaking point. And the men are just going to cycle and cycle and cycle and cycle. So if you're a woman that this is happening to and you're being forced to put an end to this, do not be afraid to walk away, and do not let anyone tell you that you are the problem because you broke up the family. This shit needs to stop.